on the first review proof. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Here's our one and only one fact today. And it make all right angles are congruent. Right? If I have two 90-degree angles, they are congruent to each other. Okay? Two 90-degree angles are always congruent. It's a matter of how do I use it in a proof now. All right? I know that's true. All right angles are congruent. I get it. But how do I write that in a proof? Go ahead, set yourself up here. Statements, reasons. Mark your diagram with whatever markings you think appropriate. I'm going to leave off some markings on mine to see if you put it on yours. Some of you guys are still missing some markings. Read all the givens, please. Read all the givens. All right, so hopefully, because it did say ACB was a right angle, some of you were missing that on your diagram. Like it already says it's a right angle, so let's put a right angle there. And then a lot of people, it was great to see you knew what that meant right there. What does that symbol mean? How about 10? What's that symbol? Perpendicular. So that forms what? Right angle. Right angles, right? I could have I saw some of you put a right angle here. I saw some of you put a right angle on both sides. Correct. Both correct. All right, so that's what at least my diagram should have been marked with. Next. Look at the proof statement. ACB congruent to ADC. What are they both already? Right triangles. Hey, what are these? What are these angles? Look at your diagram. They're both what? They're both right angles. So shouldn't they both be congruent? Because right angles are congruent. But it's not a two-step proof. Yes, right angles are congruent. If you have right angles, and guess what? I don't grade your diagram. I don't grade your diagram. I grade your statements and reasons. And how many right angles do you have in your statements and reasons? How many? One. You don't have the other right angle yet. So you can't say they're congruent until you list in the statements and reasons the two angles are right angles. Makes sense there. I don't even sniff your diagram. I don't care if you make markings or not. That's to help you out. What I grade is your statements, reasons. And if you're going to tell me right angles are congruent, you better write down the right angles. I'm missing one. What angle do I need to tell you is still a right angle up here? I have ACB, and I need to tell you 28. What's the other right angle I need? In the givens, take a look. I have ACB already. I'm trying to make it congruent to what? ADC. What do you know about ADC? That's a right angle. You marked it on your diagram, a right angle. Hey, now this needs to go here. This is not good enough for me. That needs to go here. That angle ADC is a right angle. Don't tell me they're congruent unless you have listed them as right angles. And now let's talk about a reason. We talked about this day one. Why is ADC a right angle? In your own words, before I write down officially why, how did we know to put the right angle symbol there? Woo, 28 again. Look at those doubles.
Perpendicular lines form right angles.
That's exactly what I'm going to write down. Great job. Perpendicular lines form right angles. Love that response. Now, do you have two right angles in your statements? Yes? No? Do we have two right angles written down? Mm-hmm. Now you can tell me they're what? Those two right angles you have written down, you can now say they are congruent to each other. ACB, congruent to ADC. And this is where this new fact of the day comes in. Why are they congruent? Because all right angles are congruent. That's why. But you can't say that until you have written down the right angles. Not mark them on the diagram. Written down that they're right angles. Questions on this and why I needed step 2? All right, here you go. Here's the toughest one we've done so far to date. I love this one. It has everything, almost everything we've done so far in one proof, including today's new topic. So I'll let you guys do your magic, statements, reasons, mark your diagram with whatever you need. Mark your diagram by whatever you need.
And so ABC is congruent to GE. You're right.
Don't try and get after this yet. We got to talk. We got a lot to talk about.
That's FGE.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hash marks.
No.
The arc
marks.
Okay. There's no hash marks on this one.
Okay.
Everyone have a pair of right angles and a pair of congruent arcs on the angles. We good? Okay, we get it. We get it. All right, now look at the proof statements. DBC and DGE. DBC and DGE. Please locate those angles we're trying to prove congruent. Don't mark them because that's not true. We got to do that. Don't mark them. Everyone see them? I'm just going to put a 1 and a 2 where we need that one and that one congruent, where I have 1 and 2 there. Okay, I'm not going to call them angles 1 and 2, but just so you guys can see it up on the board. Ooh, how are we going to get there? Wow, how are we going to get to angle 1 and angle 2 being equal without introducing anything new? Look at the right angle and the angle you marked congruent. Could we do anything with those two to get to the one next to it here, angle 1? Something we've talked about? Could we do anything with this right angle and this angle we marked to get to angle 2? What can we do? Well, what can we do with those two angles to get to the smaller one? What could we do with those two? What are we going to end up doing? Darn right, this is a subtraction proof. Oh, that's nice that we know it's subtraction, but what the heck's got to go in the proof? Well, if it's subtraction, I'm a broken record here. How many pairs do we need equal? How many did I give you? I did?
No.
I gave you 2. Where's the second one then? How many pairs? I'm staring at the givens right now. How many pairs of congruent quantities are up there? 1. So you need to come up with the other one. And unfortunately, unlike the last 2 days, it's not going to be reflexive. Because that was your always go-to, right? If I needed a second pair, it was always reflexive. Well, it's not reflexive this time. What are you subtracting to get angle 1 up there? The right angle, right? With the one I gave you. And how you getting angle 2? The right angle with the one I gave you. What's the second pair going to end up being here, guys? The right angles. Everyone see that? And I need to know the right angles are equal before you subtract. So let's get the right angles equal. Are all right angles equal? They are. On my diagram, where's it got to be? So what do I still need to write in step 2? Angle ABD and name the other one. FGD are right angles. You can't say they're congruent until you've listed that they are right angles. Why are they right angles? Hopefully we're picking this up a little bit. 12. Why are they right angles? Okay, yeah, guys, it's going to be the same darn reason every time. Yeah, perpendicular lines form right angles. Then you could say what right after? Now that you told me they're right angles, right after say they are congruent. There you go. And that's another little piece of habit to get into. Once you tell me they're right angles, right away say they're congruent. Angle ABD congruent to FGD. All right angles congruent. Here, there's today's fact. Now you have your second pair. All right, it wasn't reflexive this time. It was all right angles congruent was your second pair. Now I can do what in step 4? Subtract. Tell me what angles we're subtracting then. Here we go. 2. What angles are we subtracting? Angle.
Sorry, I'm confused. I have a headache. Not paying attention really.
Oh, okay. Okay, hi, I'm Mr. Carlino. This is honors geometry. Okay, I just want to make sure I'll start from scratch. Okay? Not getting out of it though. I'm subtracting angles. Are we okay on why this is a subtraction proof? Let me start from the beginning. I'm taking the right angle minus the angle I gave you. So that's all I'm asking for. Name the right angle for me.
ABD.
ABD. And what am I subtracting from ABD?
DBC.
That's the one I'm trying to prove congruent. I'm subtracting the marked congruent angle from it, which is? ABC. And what about the other right angle on top? Actually, I'll just ask somebody else. 5. What's the other right angle I need to subtract in the angle from it? FGD minus? FGE, yep. Subtraction. Still not changing. Right after subtraction, I'm going to have substitution. Here's your first 5-step proof. Angle DBC congruent to angle DGE. Still subtraction, right? It's still subtraction. The only difference, how you get that second pair. That's the only difference. The only difference is how you got the second pair. All right, this should be interesting now. Turn your page to number 3. This has, anybody see the word right angles or perpendicular on number 3? Me neither. So it's probably not going to be all right angles, but it is a proof you and your group can do right now. This is a review proof I stuck in there. Here we go.
EAB is congruent to the FBC. So put your are you?
I don't know what else to tell you. What's in the givens?
Bisector.
I don't know. And not only is bisector there, what are you bisecting? 2 angles that are given what? Equal. So pretty much this is going to be what type of proof? It's halves of equal quantities, right? Halves of equal. There's no other way around it. Not subtraction. All right, this is halves of equal quantities. But before you do that, right, it's not a 2-step proof because in statement number 2, you got to tell me I'm going to take half of EAB and call it what?
1.
Angle 1. And I'm going to take half of FBC and call it angle 2, definition of bisects. And then halves of equal quantities is when you actually set the halves equal to each other. Angle 1, the half of EAB, and angle 2, the half of FBC are equal because of halves of equal quantities are equal. Threw that in there to review, and you're going to see it later on today. All right. Any issues? If you got a calculator, let's get it out in a timely manner here. It's not really needed. I think you can do the math in your head, but just in case. All right, here we go. I want to throw some algebra ones at you here. First, I do give you some information. So can you mark your diagram? If line RST is perpendicular to ray SQ, we should be able to put a marking on our diagram, right? Hopefully you got a right angle symbol going on here. Not all four, just, not all four are right angles. And I wanted you to pay attention to directions. Does it say prove? No. So I don't need statements, reasons. I don't want them. If it just says find it. All right, find it. So first one, find measure of RSQ. RSQ, what's that measure based on the givens? What do I got going here? 20?
Given state that perpendicular to this for RSQ is 90 degrees.
Look what's in bold. That's not good enough. And it won't be good enough tonight on your homework if these directions are there. Just showing me 90. Justify. How do you know it's 90? I'm not looking for something just one and only one answer. I'll be very creative here. All right? I'll accept a lot, but you have to at least tell me, why did we write the number 90 and not any other number down? 2, why did we write 90 down?
Because it's right angle.
Okay, right angles equal 90. Perpendicular lines form right angles. I'll accept a lot. Just as long as you can get through the point why you wrote down 90. All right? There's not one right answer here. There are wrong answers, but there's more than one right one. All right, next, what about the measure of QST? Take a look on your diagram, QST. The measure of QST, what do you got for me, 14?
89.
RSU is 89. How'd you get QST to be 89? QST.
Because vertical angle.
Those aren't vertical because QS is not a line. Vertical angles are only formed by two intersecting lines, and QSU is not a line. What do we know up here?
RST is perpendicular to SQ.
So what should I have on both sides here?
A right angle.
Okay. So that should also be
90.
90 degrees. Again, your reason, right angles equal 90. Perpendicular lines form right angles. Linear pairs are supplementary. Equal? No, I don't think so. Linear pairs are supplementary. That could have been fine too, now that we had that 90. Again, something written down that gets the point across. And finally, how about angle TSU? TSU. The remaining angle we don't have. 9?
91 degrees.
91 degrees. And how do we know it's 91? 10, anything. How do we know that's 91?
It's supplementary with RST.
Supplementary angles add to 180. Linear pairs are supplementary. Straight angles equal 180. Whatever gets the point across that we knew it was 180. Questions? Okay, let's just speak for a moment here about when I give you extra time, that is to do the work. In an honors level class, it's to take advantage of the 10, 11 minutes we have right now and to start the homework. And if you get stuck or you want me to check a proof, call me over and I certainly will. It's not time for anything else. All right? This is valuable time and it's rare time that sometimes we have this much time left over. All right, so take advantage of it. Let's get going on the homework. It's not all right angles, by the way. I snuck in some review ones, so it's not all right angles.